Are you looking for the best motherboards for Ryzen 9 5900X? In this video we will look at some of the best motherboards for Ryzen 9 5900X. Before we get started with our video, we have included links in the description, so make sure you check those out to see which one is in your budget range. Number 5. MSI MEG-X 570 Unify Motherboard. Apart from offering highly affordable and entry-level motherboards for Ryzen 9 5900X, MSI also offers much more expensive and high-end motherboards which still happen to offer an amazing value for money to the user. MSI's MEG-X 570 Unify motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X is the best value for money option given here thanks to its superb overclocking performance, connectivity options, and much more without having a premium price tag. To begin, you will be glad to know that this MSI motherboard uses the full-size ATX form factor. And because this motherboard has the AMD AM4 CPU socket along with the AMD X570 motherboard chipset, you can expect pretty great CPU compatibility with it. To be more specific, this MSI motherboard can be used with AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and AMD 2nd Gen 3000 series processors. Because this motherboard is supposed to offer pretty great overclocking performance, it offers a cooling fan for the motherboard chipset used by it. In fact, the 4 memory slots of this motherboard also support overclocking for pretty amazing performance. This is due to the reason that you can install up to 128 GB of memory in this motherboard while using RAM speeds of up to 5000 MHz. Being a motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X made for high-performance usage, you will get 5 PCIe expansion slots out of which 3 are X16 expansion slots for the best performance possible. The high-performance numbers of this MSI motherboard also continue with its storage options since it features 3 NVMe M.2 SSD slots where all of them can be used for high-end PCIe Gen 4 SSD drives. However, this motherboard only has 4x SATA ports, which is certainly lower than most others, which might be a bit limiting for those who want a lot of storage space. Similar to having high-performance rear ports, this motherboard also includes Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5 for superb wireless connectivity performance. While this MSI motherboard does not have onboard RGB lighting, it is definitely great for overclocking your AMD Ryzen 9 5900X thanks to its included 1x24-pin motherboard power connector and 1x8+8 CPU power connector. As seen with the previously mentioned MSI motherboard up above, this one also comes with a 3-year-long warranty, making it fairly reliable and durable. Uses the ATX form factor. Offers the AMD X570 chipset and AMD AM4 CPU socket. Supports AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and 2nd Gen 3000 series CPUs. Offers 4 memory slots for up to 128 GB RAM at up to 5000 MHz. Offers 5 PCIe expansion slots with 3 X16 slot. Features 3 NVMe M.2 SSD slots and 4x SATA ports. Provides 2x USB 2.0, 2x USB 3.2 Gen 1, 3x USB 3.2 Gen 2, 1x USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, 1x2.5 GB Ethernet, 1x optical out, 1x PS/2, 5x audio ports. Supports Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5 wireless connectivity. Uses 1x24-pin motherboard power connector and 1x8+8-pin CPU power connector. Comes with a 3-year warranty. Number 4. ASUS ROG Strix X570E Gaming ATX Motherboard. ASUS and its lineup of ROG computer components are known to offer some of the more premium yet highly powerful options which can be great for building high-end PCs, including its motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X mentioned here. The ASUS ROG Strix X570E Gaming Motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X is one of the best options for those who do not have any budget restrictions and want something made for high-end performance. Beginning with the form factor of this ASUS motherboard, it happens to be a full-size ATX motherboard for versatile connectivity options, as you will see down below. This motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X also offers great CPU compatibility with its AMD AM4 CPU socket and the AMD X570 motherboard chipset with it. Because of this, you can use this ASUS motherboard along with AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and AMD 2nd Gen 3000 series processors. Since this motherboard is expected to offer high-end overclocking performance, you get an inbuilt cooling fan for its motherboard chipset. Moving to the memory support of this motherboard, you will find a total of 4 memory slots. And similar to most other motherboards for Ryzen 9 5900X, this one also supports up to 128GB memory with up to 4400 MHz memory speeds. One area we're going with this high-end motherboard is its expansion options, since you get 5 PCIe expansion slots with it, including 2x16 expansion slots. Another superb feature of this AMD motherboard by ASUS is that you get 8x SATA ports along with 2x NVMe M.2 SSD slots. To help you get the most out of these SSD slots, this motherboard supports PCIe Gen 4 SSD drives for excellent performance. In fact, you also get Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0 wireless connectivity with this AMD motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X. You can also expect pretty great overclocking performance from this motherboard thanks to its 1x24-pin motherboard power connector and 1x8 plus 4-pin power connector. Apart from offering amazing performance, this motherboard also looks quite great thanks to its RGB lighting on the I/O shield and the motherboard chipset area. Since this is a high-end motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X from such a reputable brand as ASUS, it comes with a 3-year warranty. Uses the ATX form factor. Offers the AMD X570 chipset and AMD AM4 CPU socket. Supports AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and 2nd Gen 3000 series CPUs. Offers 4 memory slots for up to 128GB RAM at up to 4400 MHz. Offers 5 PCIe expansion slots with 3x16 slot. Features 2x NVMe M.2 SSD slots and 8x SATA ports. Provides 7x USB 3.2 Gen 2, 1x USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, 1x HDMI, 1x DisplayPort, 1x GB Ethernet, 1x2.5 GB Ethernet, 1x optical out, 5x audio ports. Supports Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5 wireless connectivity. Uses 1x24-pin motherboard power connector and 1x8 plus 4-pin CPU power connector. Comes with a 3-year warranty. Number 3. Gigabyte X570 AORUS Elite. Gigabyte and its computer components are another viable options for all those who want something versatile in terms of features without paying a premium for the same, which is also true for its motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X given here. This Gigabyte X570 AORUS Elite motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X is present in the 3rd position in this article because this is one of the best motherboards for its given price tag, since you get similar functionality and features as more expensive options. Starting with the form factor of this Gigabyte motherboard, you will be glad to know that it is a full-size ATX motherboard. This motherboard is also quite great in terms of its CPU compatibility, which is made possible thanks to its AMD AM4 CPU socket and the AMD X570 motherboard chipset. Speaking of CPU compatibility, you can use this Gigabyte motherboard along with AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and AMD 2nd Gen 3000 series processors. Just like most other motherboards for Ryzen 9 5900X which use the AMD X570 motherboard chipset, this Gigabyte one also has a chipset cooling fan for optimal performance at all times. Being a full-size motherboard for AMD processors, this one features a total of 4 memory slots. By using these memory slots, you can install up to 128GB of memory along with support for pretty high memory speeds of up to 4733 MHz. However, this motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X does fall short in terms of its expansion options, as it only has 4 PCIe expansion slots, out of which only one of them is X16 expansion slot. That being said, this motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X is still quite good in terms of its storage options, as it features 6x SATA ports. These SATA ports are offered along with 2x NVMe M.2 SSD slots, which should be pretty great for most considering that these support PCIe Gen 4 SSD drives. Unfortunately, Gigabyte does not include any wireless connectivity options since it lacks both Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. While it does not look as good as other expensive options, you still get RGB lighting around the expansion slots and the I/O shield of this motherboard, which is quite good for the given price. Another great thing about this motherboard is that it features 1x24-pin motherboard power connector and 1x8-pin CPU power connector for decent if not the best overclocking performance. Similar to both ASUS and MSI, Gigabyte also includes a 3-year-long warranty with this motherboard for longevity and your peace of mind. Uses the ATX form factor. Offers the AMD X570 chipset and AMD AM4 CPU socket. Supports AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and 2nd Gen 3000 series CPUs. Offers 4 memory slots for up to 128 GB RAM at up to 4733 MHz. Offers 4 PCIe expansion slots with 1x16 slot. Features 2x NVMe M.2 SSD slots and 6x SATA ports. Provides 4x USB 2.0, 4x USB 3.0, 2x USB 3.1, 1x HDMI, 1x GB Ethernet, 1x optical out, 5x audio ports. Uses 1x24-pin motherboard power connector and 1x8-pin CPU power connector. Comes with a 3-year warranty. Number 2. MSI MPG X570 Gaming Plus Motherboard. While buying a motherboard for your next computer build, you should also consider MSI and its offerings, since it offers both high-end as well as highly affordable options like the motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X stated here. MSI's MPG X570 Gaming Plus motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X is present in the second position in this listicle, as this is the most affordable option given here, making it the perfect option for buyers on a tight budget. Unlike what you would expect from such an affordable option, it still includes a full-size ATX form factor. Not only that, but it also includes the high-end AMD X570 motherboard chipset and the AMD AM4 CPU socket. With the given chipset and CPU socket, this AMD motherboard is able to offer proper compatibility with AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and AMD 2nd Gen 3000 series processors. And even though it is a highly affordable motherboard, it still comes with a cooling fan for the motherboard chipset to ensure proper performance at all times. Speaking of performance, this MSI motherboard features a total of 4 memory slots, which allows you to install up to 128 GB memory with it. This memory can be used at memory speeds of up to 4400 MHz, which is quite decent for the given price. In fact, this motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X even includes 5 PCIe expansion slots, where 2 of them are x16 expansion slots. Other than having multiple expansion slots, this motherboard also features pretty great storage options in the form of 6x SATA ports and 2x NVMe M.2 SSD slots. Since these M.2 SSD slots support PCIe Gen 4 SSD drives, you can expect amazing performance from them. Unfortunately, if you want to use wireless networking with it, you are out of luck, since you do not get Wi-Fi or Bluetooth with this motherboard. Thankfully, MSI has offered a pretty good power configuration for your overclocking needs in the form of 1x24-pin motherboard power connector and 1x8 plus 4 power connector with it. Even though this is a highly affordable motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X, you still get a 3-year long warranty included with it. Uses the ATX form factor. Offers the AMD X570 chipset and AMD AM4 CPU socket. Supports AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and 2nd Gen 3000 series CPUs. Offers 4 memory slots for up to 128 GB RAM at up to 4400 MHz. Offers 5 PCIe expansion slots with 2x16 slot. Features 2x NVMe M.2 SSD slots and 6x SATA ports. Provides 2x USB 2.0, 2x USB 3.2 Gen 1, 3x USB 3.2 Gen 2, 1x USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, 1x HDMI, 1x GB Ethernet, 1x optical out, 1x PS/2, 5x audio ports. Uses 1x24-pin motherboard power connector and 1x8 plus 4-pin CPU power connector. Comes with a 3-year warranty. Number 1. ASUS AM4 TUF Gaming X570 Plus. ASUS is known for offering multiple lineups of computer components like ASUS ROG, ASUS Strix, and ASUS TUF, where ASUS TUF offers some of the best entry-level options, including a fairly versatile and feature-rich motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X. The ASUS TUF Gaming X570 Plus motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X is present in the first position in this article, since this is one of the most versatile and feature-rich options in its class. To ensure that you get enough connectivity options on this motherboard, it relies on the full-size ATX form factor. Talking about its CPU compatibility, this motherboard uses the AMD AM4 CPU socket and the AMD X570 motherboard chipset. As a result, you can use this motherboard along with AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and AMD 2nd Gen 3000 series processors. Because it uses a high-end AMD X570 chipset, this motherboard uses a cooling fan for the motherboard chipset. One of the best things about this motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X is that it offers superb memory support thanks to its 4 memory slots. Not only can you install up to 128 gigabytes of memory on this motherboard, but it even supports pretty high RAM speeds of up to 5100 MHz. However, if you wish to use multiple expansion cards, then this ASUS motherboard might not be for you since it only has 4 PCIe expansion slots where only one of them is an X16 expansion slot. That being said, this motherboard for Ryzen 9 5900X is still quite good in terms of its storage options since you get 6x SATA ports with it. These SATA ports are paired along with 2x NVMe M.2 SSD slots that can be used for installing PCIe Gen 4 SSDs in this motherboard. And while it may not offer the best performance, its Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 5 connectivity is still better than nothing. In case you want to overclock your AMD Ryzen 9 5900X, then you can expect decent performance thanks to its 1x8 plus 4-pin CPU power connector and 1x24-pin power connector configuration. Similar to much more expensive motherboards for Ryzen 9 5900X, this one also includes RGB lighting which is present next to the motherboard chipset section. And to ensure that you can enjoy all these features for a long time, you get a 3-year long warranty with it. Uses the ATX form factor. Offers the AMD X570 chipset and AMD AM4 CPU socket. Supports AMD 3rd Gen 5000 series and 2nd Gen 3000 series CPUs. Offers 4 memory slots for up to 128 GB RAM at up to 5100 MHz. Offers 4 PCIe expansion slots with 1x16 slot. Features 2x NVMe M.2 SSD slots and 6x SATA ports. Provides 4x USB 3.2 Gen 1, 2x USB 3.2 Gen 2, 1x USB 3.2 Gen 2 Type-C, 1x HDMI, 1x DisplayPort, 1x GB Ethernet, 1x optical out, 1x PS/2, 5x audio ports. Supports Wi-Fi 5 and Bluetooth 5 wireless connectivity. Uses 1x24-pin motherboard power connector and 1x8 plus 4-pin CPU power connector. Comes with a 3-year warranty.